Weird science
is the revolution.
Deadpool Wolverine, WW3 number 2 of 3. We actually looked it up right before to make sure it doesn't seem like at the end of this that there is a lot going on to go to in issue 3. I don't really know exactly everything that's happening in this. We lost our minds doing the first issue. We weren't going to review it, but then Adam Kubert actually, gave us a bit of a thumbs up that we were trying to get through it and said that eventually everything will make sense. The road to that is pretty good art-wise. I mean, this art is incredible.
Top-notch.
That's what would be most superb, as they say. That's most of my score.
Yeah, of course.
Is that because even this, I do end up, and I'll give Mr. Kubert there a shout-out as well, but doing it then, I thought that I really have to dig deep here and try to get what this is. I kind of get a little bit of what it's about. Now, that's going to end up where I decide, is it worth, the story, or is it a compelling story? I don't know, but it does have a pretty good Deadpool moment where he kind of, tells it as it is and is a sad guy and wishes that he wasn't so goofy and can't get out of his way. Almost plays out a bit like a kind of like an autistic type deal that I know well about, or something around those things of, I can't help how I am. I want to change it, but is that really him? And I think that, you even have that through Wolverine, who says, I hate Deadpool so much, but this isn't him. Like, this doesn't, it actually reminds me what this is in my life. It's when my wife made me go on Zoloft and I was walking around like a zombie. I had nothing going on.
Exactly.
I was just like walking like a robot, but that kind of is. And I think the play here too, in the art and story wise, having him with that helmet on, once he takes it off, it's terrific. But having the helmet, it doesn't even, give you the feel. It feels more like a robot. But it is, like I said, it's Deadpool Wolverine WW3, written by Joe Kelly, art by Adam Kubert, colors by Frank Martin, VC's Joe Sabino on letters. I'm going to do a recap here because it does give you some info that we didn't know.
Yeah,
including why the name of the book is what it is. So after teaming up with Wolverine to take down a superpowered serial killer in Vancouver known as WWIII, Deadpool mysteriously disappeared. Following a trail of clues that Deadpool seemed to have left intentionally, Wolverine came upon a strange cliffside compound in Russia, where an apparent audience was waiting for him. No mention of that crazy villa of Deadpool-esque nonsense. But more importantly, they were waiting for the reveal of the newly enhanced Deadpool, now known as Wade Wilson III, third time's a charm. At least, according to the inscrutable voice of the one taking credit for the transformation, brandishing energy powers similar to WWIII, WW3. And I'm telling you, I even read that. I'm like, Wade Wilson, okay. I'm a third, so I'm JW3. Maybe they'll make a book of me. Attack Wolverine, much to the amusement of the onlookers, but Wolverine fought back, even as the trapdoor opened, dropping the two down the sheer face of the cliffs, which really didn't matter much. They end up down below the cliffs, and their drones filming them. You have some crazy plays because you have gauntlets on Wade, all these things going on, and at one point, Wolverine rips off Deadpool's arm, which kind of almost feels like a Looney Tunes type gag, but then it digitizes back.
It was hard to tell what was going on there.
Yeah, a lot of these things aren't well explained or what's going on, but really all that's happening here is there's a bunch of rich jerks, and, that's common. They're sitting around, instead of eating humans or hunting them because they want to hunt the most dangerous game, they're actually dressed up in an eyes wide shut virtual reality party where they're watching this fight going on, seemingly because they want to see this. They are funding the research that our main villain Delta is doing, and it is to make you your best version, quote unquote. Unfortunately, Deadpool having that done, it does a lot of wacky stuff to him, but he did mention in the first issue a lot of, he wants to be an X-Men. He wants to be on the Avengers, but he's always a goof. Everybody doesn't take him seriously, and that seems to be pretty much the bad. And I think that what we're getting here throughout this, and by the end, is Joe Kelly kind of, going, are you better served to try to change for what people want, or should you just be yourself, even if yourself is annoying to everybody around you? And as I said, it also feels like it's going a little bit into another realm as well, like a Spectrum type deal. But you end up where the art's great. I mean, you see this one panel where Wolverine's just ripping and destroying Deadpool, and it looks fantastic.
Oh, that's crazy.
I mean, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And then while that's going on, you end up where Joker's daughter, it looks like, this girl comes in, and she ends up where she has the power where she opens up her yap, and then when she closes it, a portal is made and sends people, off. I didn't quite get exactly what was happening until Wolverine says, man, she teleported us.
It's like a big Cheshire cat mouth opens up and sucks them somewhere.
Looking like, yep. And so they end up in the middle of Russia. They're like in Siberia, wherever it would be. I don't know the exact lay of the land, but they end up there. Now they have to fight for survival. And this is like the next phase. Some of the crowd, they don't like that. They want it full out Fight Club. And now they're getting Survivor. And this isn't what they want. But Delta says, no, this is the next phase of things. This is what's going on. Now, one of the things going on is, why is Wolverine there? And he kind of figures out that Wade, once this started, kind of realized it might have been going wrong and got a hold of Wolverine at the last second and left these clues kind of to get him there. But that also felt like that was a dupe to get him there just to fight, to get the people all excited. But Wolverine, while he hates Deadpool, he doesn't like people doing, Weapon X type things.
Of course not. He hates that.
That's what it triggers him with that. So in the meantime, as I said earlier, he gets a little disturbed that Wade isn't talking. He's not saying his usual nonsense. A couple times he keeps saying, boy, we're in a pickle. Like, that was one thing, but it's not what he would normally say, and it actually starts to upset.
Well, also, he
Wolverine.
Doesn't talk. Wade usually just talks nonstop.
Now, as this is going on, we're going to get to a point where he's starting to be a little more, but is that because we don't really know what they did to Deadpool to do this, except kind of push the cancer up and trying to get the bad versus the good going. But it does seem like in a time frame, you will lose a bit of this. That's probably why Wither, that we had in that first issue, kind of went rogue, and they had to hunt him down. And a lot of people actually got that and said to us when we had our video, at least on YouTube, saying, I think that was somebody who escaped. They had to bring him down. Wade was kind of pretending this. It was a weird play because we had no idea what was going on in that first issue. It was so wacky. I said, this one, you get a little more, but it's still, I don't know. You're walking across Siberia, and in that you have those drones following them, and they kind of don't really react to them. I'd be trying to bring those things down immediately.
Of course.
Yeah. And then even thinking like, hey, maybe they'll do a food drop or something, but there's no food.
I think they're walking for what they said, 7 weeks.
Yeah, they're walking for a
that?
while. Yeah, seriously. I mean, maybe they're starved for entertainment. It's like the crazy thing. They've watched everything on Netflix already. They need this. It's just, walking the barren. It's not even a good, they're walking a barren wasteland. Who would be watching that? Now you say that, holy moly. But there's no food. Wolverine's there's no animals. He can't sense that. He can't smell anything. He can't track it. He doesn't necessarily need it as much, but Wade, he's a little off and looks like he's going to die. They mention healing factor until they don't, but then they do. And then in that, you do have, I guess, one of the crazy scenes in this is that suddenly there's food to be eaten. You figure right away, Wolverine is cut off his leg or an arm, whatever. You don't really see.
No, he chopped off his leg. They show it.
Yeah, did they show it? I didn't even see that the leg was. I figured it was his
over
thigh.
to the right. He's you can see his adamantium bone.
Yeah, so, and you could tell, it reminded me, I told you before we started, it reminded me of the Old Man Logan when they ended up grabbing, the cannibals grabbed Logan and ended up using him as an all-night buffet, because if you just flay him, it grows back, and they could keep doing that. But, I mean, it's disgusting, but you have to do what you got to do. It's kind of like the Brazilian soccer team. Was it Brazilian? I don't even remember.
I was going to say Brazilian steakhouse, but you said Brazilian soccer team.
It's from the movie Alive when they crashed, but maybe that's where they got the idea for the steakhouse too. It might have actually been the Argentinian team. Now
I think it was Argentinian.
Yeah, so you end up where he's trying to keep Wade alive by feeding him himself, and then when he goes to eat, Wolverine. In a non-sexy way, I have to tell you, he takes off his mask, and that's horrific. I mean, he's the Elephant Man times 10.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely.
But it does make you sad, and he says, look at it. And Wolverine doesn't really react. I'll give Wolverine a lot of credit. It seems like he he's got a lot of feels for what Deadpool's going. He doesn't tell, get that mask back on. That'd be me. I'm so insensitive. Be like, whoa, buddy.
I'm trying to eat here, man. Put the mask back on.
I don't like to go around. I want it to not feel like a piece of crap. I want it to not be the joke. I want it to actually have people take me serious. I wanted to do these things. Third time's a charm. Even Wolverine says it at that point. But he was willing to go this far just to be normal, and says that he kind of got Wolverine, and Wolverine inspired him, and Wolverine's the guy who, even though you have the same deal, and it's about the healing factor and all that as well, that he said, maybe I should have just died of cancer, but you kind of inspired me. I saw how well you put it together, and I thought I could be like you, but I really can't. And it is some nice feels in that. And they talk, and he's crying, which made me kind of feel for him.
I know.
But then as that's going on, it's like almost like this is like the most entertaining part. Not to the Eyes Wide Shut jerks. They don't like this, I guess, because that's when Delta, that girl, and a giant crazy snowflake.
They're like, we got to ramp this up. We need ratings.
Yeah, we need something in here. The ratings are going down, and we can't have that. And so they come in, and you're going to end up having the snowflake.
That thing
giant
is huge.
Wolf, bear, I don't know, ape monster with 4 eyes, just nonsense. It's humongous and keeps getting more and more. It's like, I'm not scared. That's the big thing it keeps saying.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, so in the meantime, it just goes and attacks, and you get a prolonged thing. But that's the most action in the issue, and Wolverine just gets demolished. At one point, it's just imprinted.
His head is like squished in there.
It's squished in. It looks great.
His ribs are showing.
Horrific. And the idea of that, where you have this guy, Delta, goes over to Deadpool and says, we could reset this. We could start over. I'm like, I don't know if I'd want that now. But he says, you could still be a person that society looks at as great. We could just do this. And while that's going on, the one page where you see Wolverine coming out of the crater that was made with him, and his ribs are there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so disgusting in that. But at that point, this snowflake monster then grabs Deadpool and just starts ripping him apart.
Ripping off limbs and legs.
At the one point, Wolverine is like, I gotta go get Wade. And he's like taking a breather as pieces of Wade are getting thrown on top of other pieces because this big thing then is, and it looks like it keeps getting bigger and bigger.
It's like eating them too.
Oh yeah, it's vicious, this thing.
Rips his
head
off.
Like Delta and them, they're out, and the big play is this snowflake who keeps saying, I'm not afraid, ends with, you are afraid. I'm like, damn right, I think Wolverine is. But
it's
again,
stomped on Deadpool too.
Yeah, you see that, so it's crazy. So we have to see what happens, but it is the finale. Even the cover of next issue looks great. It does look like that.
I want to see Kubert doing the Incredible Hulk, man. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. So it's a weird issue. I think I understand it more this issue. That doesn't mean I love it. I see the game that they're doing. I thought there was a good moment with Wolverine and Deadpool, but overall I still am wondering, besides the art, why I'm kind of reading it. The art, though, is worth it. It's really, really good. But What would you give it?
I'm higher on this one, and I've read it twice. We talked about it. I'm at a 6, so I've definitely gone up. I'm more interested.
I'm at a 6.5.
Okay, good.
I really liked. I'm telling you, when I read something like when Deadpool's talking, I'm not crying. I'm an adult. I'm a man. But I actually got choked up a bit, and I actually thought, you know what? These are the kind of stories where there are times when you can delve into Deadpool and not just be jokes, and this is one of those.
He's not joking at all.
And even sometimes when you joke, one of my favorite moments ever, I think I've mentioned it a bunch of times, is when Deadpool doesn't want to show his face to Gabby, Honey Badger / Scout, whatever. And when he does, and she has scars, and she says, I think you're beautiful. I think you look great. And they become best friends, and it always got me. I really like that moment. So there are moments that you can have with Wade, where you can really delve in, because look at the guy and all the things that go into it. And when he actually gets a little serious and talks about his true feelings, again, which he can't, he even says in this, where when he's upset and things bother him, when he's normal Deadpool, he makes it a joke. He pushes it aside. But when he's actually dealing with it. So it is that play of, is that better or worse or whatnot? So I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I like that part a lot too. I negative points for me is just so we don't forget. Delta's backstory, don't care at all about that.
Yeah, you have that, and sideways pages.
And the sideways pages are insane. Bad.
And I know that it only takes me to go and make sure that my screen doesn't.
You have to lock it. Yeah.
I'm telling you though, I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to do it. It just, that ends up it pulls you out, and it happens inside. Like the first couple pages, okay, I got it. Then
it's a 12-panel grid on one page. It's too much.
Yeah, it looks great though, but still, and like you said, I don't really care about Delta. All this is rich jerks trying to do something, and there you go. Right? You could have had Delta show up on Gilligan's Island and done the same thing, and at the end they don't rescue the castaways. That's all. I think this guy's just going to disappear at the end. They're going to go and try to get the compound, and it won't be there. It'll be digitized or something, or it'll be chomped by Joker's daughter. Hey, all you weirdos, if you like comic book shows, podcasts, videos, please check the description of this video, where you can see links to all of our podcast shows, websites, all of that. And if you want to help us out for everything that we do, you can click on that Patreon link in the upper left-hand corner and check out our Patreon, where you can go right now and get a 7-day free trial to see all the stuff that we do, shows that are Marvel, DC, indie, manga, and even more. So check all that out, and I'll talk to you all later.
Weird science is the revolution.